Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. And in this video, we are going to, or in today's class, good afternoon. We are going to look at the concept of metabolism, although it's going to be actually a general discussion. And remember, you watch some of the videos, but for today's video, we are going to revise what the videos that you have watched already. So now, let me start by asking a question. What is metabolism? What is metabolism? What is metabolism? Excellent. Metabolism is some total of all biochemical reaction that take place in the cells. Yes, excellent, correct. So when we said metabolisms actually are all biochemical reactions that are taking place in our body, and there are thousands and millions of reactions that are taking place in our body. And of course, we survive, we do everything that we do, like as I'm talking now, is because of a number of reactions that are taking place in our body. As I talk, as we see, as we read and understand, all is actually as a result of various reactions that are taking place in our body. So there are thousands and the millions of reactions that are taking place in our body. And of course, according to Haifi Shehu, she defined metabolism as all chemical reactions or biochemical reactions that are taking place in our body. So now the next question is, what are the types of metabolism? What are the types of metabolism? That is the question now. Please answer the question. Is glycolysis catabolism, anabolism, or amphibolism? Yes, Elvin, welcome. Good afternoon. So I'm asking question, is glycolysis catabolism, anabolism, or amphibolism? Yes. Is glycolysis amphibolism? Excellent, catabolism. So what are the end products of glycolysis? Who can tell me four major products that can be generated from glycolysis? What are the four major products of glycolysis? Excellent. ATP? No. I agree with ATP, but ADP is not part of the product of glycolysis. NADP is also not a product of glycolysis. So please, what are the products of glycolysis? what at the end of the glycolysis, what are the four major products that you are expecting at the end? Yes, ATP, I agree with that. Then what again? Apart from ATP, what do you generate at the end of glycolysis? Yes, I also agree that pyruvate is also generated. And then what again? Apart from pyruvate, what again? Then pyruvate, what again? Is that all you know, Happy? Look at it. Apart from ATP, you also generate NADH. So I think from glycolysis, ladies and gentlemen, there are three products that you can generate. You can generate pyruvate, you can generate NADH, and you can generate ATP. And all these products are very important in metabolism. And you know that the energy or the ATP is the energy currency of a cell, and then pyruvate is a metabolite that can further be utilized in oxidative pathways like citric acid cycle. And then also at the same time, NADH is used to generate ATP and also aid in the continuation of glycolysis. So these are some of the important things that you need to know from glycolysis. That at the end, glycolysis is a process that involves the breaking down of glucose. As you can see from here, glucose is being broken down to generate pyruvate. And of course, it's not only pyruvate, you generate ATP and you also generate NADH. And how many pyruvate are generated in glycolysis? How many pyruvate are generated in glycolysis? How many pyruvate are generated in glycolysis? Yes, excellent, two pyruvate. Then how many NADH? So actually, I know that we discussed on glycolysis. So now we are going to look at the glycolysis and hemolytic anemia, and we are going to start with hemolysis. And from the word hemo, of course, means red blood cells. So lysis means breaking down. So hemolysis is the lysis or breaking down of the blood cells or of the red blood cells, resulting in the release of hemoglobin. So when when red blood cells, ladies and gentlemen, is broken down as a result of when red blood cells is being broken down to release hemoglobin content of the red blood cells is what you call hemolysis. And it is very important to understand that red blood cells is one of the important cells in the body that is responsible for the transport of oxygen. So I think last time we discussed about glycolysis. So the major aim of glycolysis is to generate pyruvate and ATP. And glycolysis can occur both in anaerobic and aerobic environment. That is, whether there is a presence of oxygen or absence of oxygen, it can occur in every cells in in every cells of the body. And I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, in humans, we have over 37.2 trillion cells, and each of these cells in our body is obtaining or is generating its energy from this glycolysis. So what I want you to understand actually at this point, ladies and gentlemen, glycolysis occur in every cells in our body. So in all the 37.2 trillion cells that we have in our body, glycolysis are taking place. And there are some cells that the only operates in the absence of oxygen. Like for example, in cancer cells are the cells that usually have the defective mitochondria, and also other cells that doesn't have mitochondria. They always depend on glycolysis for their energy. So that is what I want you to understand. So, like, why is it that hemolysis occur, or how hemolysis or hemolytic anemia linked with the red blood cells? Because red blood cells doesn't have mitochondria, so it's only depend on glycolysis for energy. So therefore, whenever there is a problem or deficiency of most of those regulatory enzymes or any of the regulatory enzymes of glycolysis, there will be low energy generation. And if there is low energy generation, the integrity of the red blood cells cannot be maintained. So that is what I want you to understand. So you need to sit down and understand that okay, we have different cells in our body, and these cells, some are having mitochondria, some are not having mitochondria. So those that are having mitochondria, it means that apart from glycolysis, provided that apart they have mitochondria, they have functional mitochondria, and they have enough oxygen, it means that they can undergo other pathways like citric acid cycle and electron transport change to generate energy. So apart from the red blood cells, there are also other cells in our body that doesn't have mitochondria, like the rod and conch cells of the eyes. They don't have mitochondria. So as a result of that, they also solely depend on glycolysis for energy generation. So that's what I want you to understand, that hemolysis it can occur in the red blood cells because there is if there is problem with any of the glycolytic enzymes, especially the regulatory enzymes. Now let me ask you questions. How many regulatory enzymes do we have in glycolysis? Of course I know that I sent you the videos. How many regulatory enzymes do we have in glycolysis? Please answer this question. It's very important. How many regulatory enzymes do we have in glycolysis? How many regulatory enzymes do we have in glycolysis? Remember I sent you video on glycolysis. So how many regulatory enzymes do we have in glycolysis? Okay, excellent. So we have 3 points of regulation in glycolysis. The first one is hexokinase, and then the second regulatory enzymes is phosphofructokinase, and then the last enzymes is pyruvate kinase. So these are the three regulatory enzymes or regulatory points. When you said regulatory point, it means it's a control point where you can on the pathway, you can off the pathway, or you can decide to increase or decrease the pathway. And that is why in the subsequent lectures we are going to see how you can even regulate this metabolic pathway like glycolysis. How do you increase it? How do you decrease it? How do you on it? How can you even off the pathway completely? So these are the three regulatory points. So you shouldn't forget about them. We call them control points. And most of the pathways, most of the metabolic pathways, they have a control point. So do you understand? So as you can see, I just want you to understand that in glycolysis, glucose is converted into fructose 6-phosphate, and then fructose 6-phosphate will be converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate by an enzyme called phosphofructokinase. So I actually want to say something, ladies and gentlemen, very important, because I realized that the issue of the class came late. So most of you are not aware of having this class. So I'm thinking, as you suggest, we'll continue with the live class. But maybe you can fix tomorrow to continue with the class. Is that okay for all of you, so that we can actually let other students know about the class? So by tomorrow, maybe you can just continue with the class, because I realize that the number of the students that joined are very few. So what do you do now? Yes, yes. So that is why I'm now going to share the link for the tomorrow's class, so that you can share it to all your groups and your friends, so that tomorrow they should all join, so that we can have a very good and a proper class. Yes, yeah. So that is what we are going to do. Yeah, I'm now going to share it. I will give you the time and everything. So maybe can we make it 8 a.m. in the morning or 9 a.m. in the morning? Which one? Or 10 a.m. Let's actually agree on the time, the timing. Okay, so 10 a.m. is okay. So let's just leave it 10 a.m. Okay. So I'm okay with that. So let's leave it 10 a.m. So I'm now going to share it to the group, the link and everything. So thank you very much, and see you tomorrow.